Southern Ontario Dirt Show, episode 23? 23, right? Did I lose
Mm-hmm.
count? Okay. I was worried coming into today that I had lost count and I was going to say 22 again. And I'm like, no, we already did 22. It's episode 23 with Jonathon and Travis. Who is your number 23 today? Who comes to mind first for you?
He's retired now, but raced with him a lot back in the day in my 358 days, and he won a couple 358 championships with this number 23, Larry Lampman Jr.
Nice. Quality
Mm-hmm.
pick. I'm going to go current. I'll give a shout out to Trevor DeBoer in the 23.
Another one I thought of was Jeremy May, and then
Yeah.
I ran out. I actually didn't think of DeBoer.
Yeah, I thought of DeBoer, but I forgot May, so that's pretty funny.
So those 23s, let us know.
Yeah, any other 23s that you can think of locally? I'm trying to think. There's got to be. Is there no 23s in the mods in sports? I don't think so.
I know.
Nobody wants to be Michael Jordan, I guess.
No.
Or that, or nobody wants to be Bubba Wallace, depending on how you view it these days.
He's 45 now.
Yeah, exactly. Change the number. It's fine.
Ty Dillon, way worse.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs, way worse.
Ty Gibbs is, sorry. Ty Gibbs is
You got the wrong
Ty Dillon, also bad.
The wrong grandson of which of an owner of a NASCAR
Yeah.
team. So we're heading into a busy weekend with racing at Humberstone Speedway. Last weekend was Applefest. Let's have a look and see how some of our local guys did. I'm going to go class by class, so excuse me if this is a little disjointed as I go through here. But Friday night's feature in the Thunderstocks, Justin Ramsey won that one. Who else would we might know? Tyler French, we've seen race around our parts in the Zero. Chris Hale, we've seen come through the Southern Ontario region. Brock Gregory's shown up for some. Zach Bleach came home 10th.
Where did Hale finish?
Hale was
I
fourth.
think Hale was like 5th or something.
Fourth,
yeah.
Yeah.
He's a Sweekin regular.
Yep.
Merrittville feature winner.
Mm-hmm. Zach Bleach brought it home 10th. So good to see him back out after the drama at Humberstone.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Lampman and Donnie Lampman, 12th and 13th. Ken Sargent brought it home 15th. And Go Fast Teeple made the trip. He was 20th. And I think something must have happened to Jason Fontaine because he ended up 23rd. Looks like he only ran about half the race. So tough break for Fontaine.
He was in a Ramsey car. I don't know if he bought it or what,
Mm-hmm.
but he ended up wrecking it bad. I saw a picture on Facebook.
That's always
not
tough.
Good for the Fonz.
Yeah. He's got a lot of bad luck this year.
No doubt.
Just underneath that, since I'll jump to this, I don't know which order these races were run. I'm going by the My Laps Speed Hive. So far, not loving this website compared to what we deal with My Race Pass. I don't know if that's a controversial take or not, but that's what I'm going to say. Brad Rouse brings it home second to Bobby Harrington in the 88Z. So Rouse second. Jordan Costco with a great run, finishing sixth. Trevor Wright, another good run, seventh. Rob Knapp, 10th. So 4 of our local guys end up in the top 10 in the Sportsman. Also appearing, Terry Smith was 11th. Mitch Dumont, 13th. Curtis Friesen, 14th. Let's have a look. Noah Mamo a little further down the list in 20th. And I think that was it for... Oh, and Chris Hawkins. Chris Hawkins, the only other guy that kind of made the trip out for the Friday night in the Sportsman. But yeah, how about some of the young guns there? In particular, Costco and Rouse bringing home 6th and 7th.
And Wright, you meant Rouse was second.
Sorry, yes, Wright.
He's a veteran. Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Anyway, yeah, Costco. I was making jokes with him. I was buying some tear-offs up front at BRP this week, and he said he just switched from the like old school ones where you have to put them on individually to the ones that are a little bit more money, but they're like stacked and laminated perfectly, so you can put 10 on at once and no dirt gets in between or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just made the joke, hey, that's why you finished up front at Brighton this weekend, because now you can actually see, because he's already just switched. So made that joke. And then, Trevor Wright, good to see him run good. And, he was hot and cold a little bit this year in the Sportsman's, but I think he finished. Where did he finish in points? He was up there in points.
He was at least a top 10, I think, in points at Merrittville.
I know some nights.
And he was pretty consistent.
Wish they could do a little better for sure.
Yeah,
he had that run of like top 5s where like at least 4 in a row.
Yeah, and they had some bad luck where they kept getting caught up in incidents too. I was going to say
that's tough in the Sportsman's too.
Yeah, exactly right. Going over to the mini stocks, somebody that you wanted to give a shout out Friday night, Mason Anderson brings home a 3rd place finish, getting in on the podium in that 4 car.
No doubt. Yeah, I know. I don't want to say I couldn't believe it, but Like he's definitely not been a top 3 car around here this year. And to show that speed down there, Brighton's like I call it like a mix of Merrittville and Humberstone, the shape a bit.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, but he put her in the top 3 down there. Congrats to him.
Yep. Vincent Pagnotta also came home in the top 10. Jordan Denenberger got himself a top 10. John Lubeck also got a top 10. Fabio Oliveri, 12th. Jeremy May, 14th. Brayden Cooley was 18th. Danny Worcester brought it home 20th, still running. And Tyler LaFonzi must have had some issues because he only ended up making it 7 laps. Was 13 laps down at the end there, so he must have had some issues on the Friday night that affected his run. But yeah, some really healthy car counts. The big things that I'm taking away from this, and some great local representation here. Looking at the modifieds, um, trying to see if I can see their feature. Were they range shortened on Friday night or something? Because it just says dash or cash. Maybe was that their feature?
No, because it was just a Dash for Cash. There was no like actual modified feature.
Oh, okay, that's
They
what
were
it
the
was.
headliner the next night. It was probably I think it used to be a 500 to win little 15 lapper.
Yeah. So the dash for cash went to Gary Lindbergh. He won that one. Brad Rouse bringing it home fifth. Chad Chevalier sixth, and Todd Gordon rounded up to 10 cars in the dash for cash on Friday night at Brighton. And then of course there was action from Saturday as well, the true Applefest Saturday night special. Let's start with the mini stocks here. Uh, Not as good a night for our invaders. I mean, Mason Anderson still got the top 10, but that was it for Southern Ontario representation in the top part of the field. Pagnotta was 13th, Cuse was 16th, and I think it looks like Jordan
Brighton can be a little
Dennebrigge.
bit more rough and tumble in the old mini stocks, which they call them something else up there. But
Yeah.
or do they call them mini stocks?
Well, it just says MS for the identification
Mm.
on my laps, so I figured that
They've
meant
got
mini stocks.
yeah, like more of a mini. They got a bunch of
They
that
call
kind
it.
of classes too.
Does Comp 4 make sense to you?
Yes, that's what they call them.
Yeah, the Comp
And
4s.
then there's a class below them called Stingers or something, I believe, which is their version of the V6s, I think, which is where Donnie got the idea for that.
Nice.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense then. Um, Thunderstock duel on the dirt. Justin Ramsey, no surprise, wins that one. So that was 2 wins in a row for Ramsey. Chris Hale second. Dave Bailey brought it home third. Um, Tyler French, Jeff Humphrey, 2 other guys in the top 5 that we're used to seeing. Ron Logie brought it home sixth. Ken Sargent seventh. Brock Gregory ninth. And looking through the rest of the field for some of our guys, Zach Bleach 15th, Jim Lampman 16th, Ryan Beagle was 17th, 1 lap down. Donnie Lampman was 1 lap down and 18th. Trevor Want was 20th, 1 lap down. Fontaine, looks he might have had some issues, was a bit off the pace there again. Go Fast Tipo also DNF'd. So and Casey Huffman also. I should give Casey Huffman a shout out there in 21st. But yeah, cream of the crop at the top of this class. I mean, Ramsey, Hale, Bailey. Doesn't matter which track you put them on. That's arguably 3 of the best in the Thunderstock Street Stock class, right?
Yeah, definitely hailed. He could be a guest on the show. He'd be a good one to get because I think he has to tow pretty far to even come to us weekend.
Well, I
I
think
think he's closer
he's
to
Guelph.
Buxton.
Yeah, he's a Guelph native. I'm pretty sure. So
Is
uh,
it Guelph? That's not that bad then.
So I'm pretty sure Guelph. I'm pretty sure on the rosters at the start of the year that we had him down for Guelph. So whether uh, that is
It's far
how,
to Brighton though. He
yeah,
finished second. Dave
right,
Bailey third.
exactly. Uh,
Justin Ramsey first.
Having a look at
Shocking.
Sportsman. Yeah, I know, right? The only I think it was more shocking that Beagle wasn't up there. So I'm not sure what happened to the big dog
Did you
there, but
go?
he was there, but he brought home like 17th,
Oh,
1 lap down or something like that. So maybe he
oh
had a
tough.
flat tire or something, some kind of issue that
Yeah.
derailed his run. Um, Looking at the results from the Sportsman on Saturday night, Brad Rouse brings it home third, Ryan Ferry fourth, Costco fifth, James Friesen sixth, Mitch Dumont ninth, and Noah Mamo 10th, Trevor Wright 11th. So lots of representation in the top half of the field there for us. Um, Terry Smith brought it home 16th, Curtis Friesen 17th. Um, and I think that pretty much rounds out who we would have had. Chris Hawkins 26th, in terms of our local guys. And Rob Knapp only turned one lap, so that tells me something happened with that race car pretty quickly into the race there and took him out early.
Who is our highest up guy?
So it would have been Rouse.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Rouse led a
yeah,
train of Southern Ontario drivers: Rouse Ferry, Costco, James Friesen, third through sixth.
yeah. So
Good run for Ferry
Roast
too. I
and
mean,
JMF. Yeah, he's dropped back down to Sportsman and picked right up where he left off.
yeah,
Super
exactly
fast.
right. Good to see. And then the last race we should probably talk about from Applefest weekend. Um, let's talk about the modifieds. Eric Rudolph makes the trip across the border and ends up second. Gary Lindbergh fourth. Mike Bowman was eighth. Chad Chevalier ninth. Danny O'Brien in the 3RS this weekend drove it to 11th. Brad Rouse in the 18R 15th. I think that's about everybody. Todd Gordon
Dalton was there,
DNF.
but he had Dalton DNF too.
Yeah, Dalton
But he was
DNF.
going good before
So
that.
they what 3RS cars I guess out that night because it
Yep,
right
and both
Danny.
didn't have their best desirable nights.
I mean Danny definitely salvaged things.
Dalton was
Right
going
number
fast and
11.
got in a little jingle.
Yeah,
Did a little
Tyler
bit of
Willard.
damage to the car and had to pull off.
Yeah, Tyler Willard, Luke
Yeah, we had a
Carlton,
lot of
Derek
guys
Van
down
Loan.
there.
Yeah, we actually had some serious like representation. Now that I'm looking through it, I'm like,
Every division. Shout out to everyone for going down. Like
yeah,
that's a tough haul through Toronto. Although it's worth it. I love Brighton. I didn't go this year just because honestly couldn't just afford to go that far, but
yeah,
yep.
that's fair.
Love that
No,
place.
that's obviously put on a good show. Speaking of good shows, was that one on GeForce or is GeForce gonna have any coverage of that? I think they were pretty
I
busy
don't think
occupied
so.
with the Pinty's weekend and the
Yeah.
fall brawl
Yeah,
and
they
all
didn't
that,
have anything.
right? So
But if you did want to see it, it's like not as produced as GeForce, obviously, but I forget what it's called, Brighton Speedway Memories or Brighton Speedway something on YouTube, and someone up there does post like all the week's results.
oh nice.
And every division they separate it. It's like mini stocks. They do the heats first, and then the feature, and they'll post it separately, like on all divisions, so you don't got to scroll through. They'll each division separate.
See, that's what
It's
I
pretty
needed
nice.
about 12 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, so this
they posted a
weekend,
little later though. I'm probably not even up yet.
oh, maybe, fair enough.
Yeah.
Humberstone Speedway this weekend. You are going to be racing in that one Friday and Saturday. That is the finale for the Pinty's Knights of Thunder, correct?
Yep, that's it. You should have brought up the points for that. I think Mitch Brown was leading it, but then Ryan won the last race, but Mitch was up there as well. Bring the
Yeah,
points up for that, Johnny.
I'll get him up here right now. It's funny that you
Same
brought
with
up.
action.
It's funny that you brought up Ryan Turner because I was actually talking to him, and he sounds like he's got some big plans for post Humberstone with trips down to Texas and I don't remember the other state now. I told you it, but I'll have to check my
Kansas?
messages. Yes, Kansas, I think it is.
It's like
Um,
Kansas, yeah.
right? So Ryan Turner doing some. He's got some big plans to keep on racing, but he's got a championship to try to wrap up this week. Mitch Brown is currently the leader of the standings by 5 points over Corey Turner. Then it's 18 points back to Ryan Turner. Josh Hansen is fourth, and Nick Sheridan fifth. 44 points back for Hansen and 55 points back for Sheridan, which is impressive stuff. Liam Martin also up there in sixth. Tyler Rand seventh. Jake Brown, Glenn Stiers, Aaron Turkey. That is your top 10 in the Pinty's Knights of Thunder points as they run heading into the final weekend. Do you have any predictions?
So that's really close at the front.
Yeah,
There could
right?
be some serious blocking and wheel chopping and going on.
Well, Ryan's been so fast that I think the trick
I
to it
know.
all is going to be stopping Ryan from sweeping the weekend. Because if
Yeah, Mitch did win there earlier in the year.
yeah,
And
which was his lone win on the year.
Corey has a second there last year for sure. I believe a bunch of podiums. So
Yeah,
they're all fast there.
yeah,
It's all about a lot of it's about the draw there.
yeah, I was gonna say I think it's gonna come down to the draw because I don't think there's gonna be as much passing this weekend. I don't want to say that, but
Still be passing. Don't want to say that.
I don't
I
want to
went
say that.
13th to 5th last time.
Okay, well in that case,
The only time I passed, that's not true. I was passing people all year, just coming from the back. That was my problem. But yeah, 13th to 5th that night.
yeah, yeah, I got faith that you're going to make some passes. But up at the front, that's where I'm concerned about the passing because I feel like lap traffic could
I'm
play a
gonna be at the
factor.
front too. Just watch.
Okay. I like where was
I
this
hope so.
confidence all year? Okay, can we the amount of lack of confidence I should say that you've had all year long. Now we're heading into the final weekend, all the pressure's off.
Well, I found something a little wrong with the car, and then it felt way better at the Nationals.
Ah,
So, and then I over adjusted myself both nights. This time, it's not gonna do that this time. And Humberstone's been one of my best tracks the last 3 years. So,
I like it. That's the confidence I want to hear heading into this weekend. Give yourself a big go out. You go and sweep the weekend. Give yourself a big points boost in the end. That would be fun.
I'd love to get a podium either night. That's my goal.
I think it's
Or even
definitely possible, particularly on Friday
Yeah.
when I'm going to be there. I would hope to see that.
Another thing about Brighton, like Chris Raby won that, and that's Ryan Turner's brother-in-law, Jenna's brother, Jenna Turner's brother. So a little Niagara connection there too.
It's just everything's coming up that way right now.
And Chris Raby's no joke. He's a guy could be like he's won the Dirt Sportsman Tour, and he's like a hot shot 358. He's won a couple 10 grand to win shows as himself this year.
Nice
at Cornwall. One was for sure. So yeah, and yeah, won Applefest. So that's $4 grand.
Yeah,
five,
exactly.
It was
good, definitely a good payday for sure. Something else that's a good payday. Was it? We're coming up on Oswego and the 50th Napa Super Dirt Week.
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping to get up there Thursday through Sunday. So
yep.
The 358s are Thursday this year. Threw me for a loop. I was just going to go up Friday, but this year I realized all the 358 qualifying's Thursday, and they get Friday completely off.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna try to get my butt up there at least for the start of the heats on Thursday. Try and make qualifying too, but I don't know how doable that is. But I'm gonna try.
And what are you watching for that in particular? What do you think is going to be
on the docket? That's what I love. It's like so hard to predict, but Matt Williamson will be fast. He's going to run the S&W Service Center Wayne Kahn owned car.
Yep.
And he's finished second there last couple of times, I think. I don't know. Yeah, he hasn't won the small block, but he's won the big blocks in both of them. So, and the S&W Service Center team's definitely dialed in right now. That's probably that and the Ransomville cars, Matt's two most dialed in teams right now. So, yeah, watch for that one to be at the front for sure. And Lindbergh's always fast there if he's going. Like Lindbergh has a bunch of good runs at Oswego. And as far as the professionals, like Stewie will be up there, Matt through Ryan Shepard.
Yep.
So I mean, like I haven't seen the entry list, but that race usually draws almost 70 cars. So
yeah. So if you're heading down on Thursday, do you think we're going to be able to squeeze in a podcast, or do you think we're going to have to do a podcast from you stateside?
I don't know. Hopefully, I can squeeze in the media center with my laptop and find some Wi-Fi, and we could probably figure it out.
That would be pretty awesome. Have you live reporting from Super Dirt Week?
Yeah.
All right.
That's the goal.
That's the initial plan then. I like it. The other thing I was going to say, what are we racing on Sunday? Is it Fullerton 200?
Fulton 200 this Saturday.
What am I saying Fullerton? I'm like, why am I thinking?
Same thing.
I was going to say, it's close. It's close in my concussion brain.
I think it's called the Outlaw 200 now. It used to be called the Victoria 200 back in its heyday. Yeah. It's still an amazing race. It pays $25,000 to win. Matt won it last year. Yeah, everybody's won it. Billy Pouch won the first, I think, 6 in a row of them back in the 80s. It's just a race with so much history, and it like officially kicks off Super Dirt Week, even though technically it's not a part of Super Dirt Week. Like most people will go camp at Fulton, watch the 200 there. It's awesome race. One of the best modified races I've ever seen there was in 2008. Danny Johnson won in the BA Headers car, and he started like 28th or something and drove through the field on the cushion and won the race. Like I say, one of the best races I've ever seen. And
nice.
It starts Super Dirt Week.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be appointment viewing, lots of couching next week for me. I don't think I have any work to do mostly through the nights, so maybe I'll have to like hit you up and you can just give me your login for
yeah, because I'm not be able to use my Dirt Vision login, so you might as well.
Yeah, then I can watch it from home. See if there's like an app for my TV and everything. Perfect. I love it. Everything's coming together. But before we get down there, you've got some racing to do this weekend. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to being at Humberstone Speedway. We also have some interviews to get to.
We didn't cover the.
What else?
We didn't cover the action points. I think we didn't just the action sprint tour top 5.
You are right. I forgot about the action sprint.
And another big thing about Humberstone this weekend is the Street Stock Nationals, 3,000 win.
Yep.
Like Saturday night, the biggest paying race in the whole joint is the 3 Street Stocks, $3,000, 75 laps. That's insane.
Which will be actually insane based on the last street stock race that we had there. So
we did it last year. Craig Hanley won.
Wow.
Brighton boy.
I have a hard time betting against one of Beagle, Bailey, or Ramsey. Those would be my three. I mean, those are the three favorites anytime you jump into street stock. But you know what? You know what would be nice? This will, I at the risk of saying this, I feel like I can't announce or jinx him any worse than he's already had. It would be really nice to see Jason Fontaine put it together and get some redemption in this one. Or even better would be to see Zach Bleach have some ultimate redemption after his last trip to Humberstone. Had such a good run going and then gets taken out in that freak thing with Pete Reed. So that's another guy that I'm circling for a podium. That would be at least a podium would be like a real big deal, I think, for Zach.
Yeah, and he was definitely fast enough to win the last race there. So 75 laps, whole new ball game.
Yep.
So, especially those cars, it's battle of attrition. All the transmissions start smoking around lap 50.
For sure, right?
Not all of them, but some of them. Yeah, definitely transmission. A little bit of the smoke hard on them for those things, for sure. Those longer races.
Speaking of Humberstone, the Pinty's Action Sprint Tour, since you wanted me to look it up, Jacob Dykstra currently leading the points, and second place Darren Dryden is 19 points back. Mathieu Bardier is 31 points back, and then Jonah Mutton is 205 points back. So it's really going to come down to Dykstra, Dryden, or Bardier, and with 6 wins on the year, I feel like it's going to be pretty tough for Dykstra to be knocked off of that crown. However, if there was ever a time for Dryden to pick up his first official Pinty's Action Sprint Tour win on the year, I think this would be the time to do it.
Yep, no doubt about it. I think he has one. He won one last year, but nothing this year yet. And Dykstra's definitely going to be tough to beat. So he's looking for two. And a little tidbit about him as well. He just ran his first World of Outlaw race last Saturday at Sharon Speedway, and he had the 410 in and everything. So it was a real deal attempt. And he didn't make the show or nothing, but definitely awesome experience for him. And now he comes back to the crate, try to win $5,000 championship.
Yeah, we'll see how it all
and
shakes
both races,
out.
which pay probably $2,000 ish, or something like that.
Something like that. Talk about consistent too, Dykstra. 12 top 10s and 13 features. 11 top 5s in those 13 features. So has only finished outside the top 10 one time in the Action Sprint Tour in the 13 events that he's attended, which is one less than I think the entire schedule has run. I'm not sure which one they would have missed, but looks like Jonah Mutton and Bardier are attributed or get 14. So obviously there's one race that everybody missed in there. I'm not sure which one it would have been, but
or there's a typo.
Maybe. But it just says 13, 13, 14, 14, 13.
So I don't think Dykstra missed any.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, which ones would have Dykstra missed? And same with Dryden.
Unless maybe there was a Cornwall on a Sunday, because those guys go to more tracks than the 360s do.
Yeah, that's possible. That is very possible, actually. That might be exactly what it is now that I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to remember those. I can see the results in front of my face. I'm like trying to Rain Man this to remember seeing their names, but
I know SOS went there.
Yes, that's true too. So I think that covers everything we needed to get into in terms of just general chit chat here. I'm super stoked now that I'm gonna have a roving reporter down there in Super Dirt Week, so that'll be fun to see what content comes out of that. But we got to get a couple interviews in for this show as well, and we'll start with who we got up first. Lucas Smith, I think we're gonna finally have on.
Hopefully, he hasn't got back to me yet, or we're gonna try Brayden Cooley maybe. Or if not, we'll wing it and find 2 people on the fly if we can't get hold of those 2.
All right, sounds good. Where somebody is coming up on the show after the break.
Yeah.
Hey, do you like what you're hearing? Want to support the Southern Ontario Dirt Show and help us expand our coverage across the province and Western New York? Well, your ad could be playing right here. Got a brand or business that deserves more attention? Email us, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com to become a sponsor of the podcast. And now, let's get back to the show.
All right, we are back on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Jonathan Howe, Travis Cunningham, and we're joined by our first, I don't want to say the first international because we've had a couple Americans on the show, but our first true international beyond North America, Brayden Cooley. It was not only joining us as an Australian, but you're back in Australia right now, right?
I'm actually flying out tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
So,
okay.
yeah, I got about 18-hour flight ahead of me. So, yeah, just getting ready for that. But, yeah, should be all right.
Awesome.
Get used to it.
Yeah, for sure. I can imagine there's a lot of travel. I was like worried. I was like, are we catching him at like a weird time? Like, is the time difference going to get us here? Is he going to have to wake up at like 6 a.m. or something to join us? But glad it's all working out.
That's all good.
Awesome.
All right. We'll get to the trip back to Australia in a minute. We'll start with like, just give us like the rundown, like your family owned cool chassis. And like, I just realized like when we added you on Facebook, because now you raced here a couple for the season. But I noticed like you were there when Shane Stewart finished second at the Nationals or whatever, or had a good night, won his qualifying night, I think, in a cool chassis. So just give us like the timeline of your life and your racing and being a part of that chassis business and like some awesome stories like that Shane at Knoxville.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I was born in 1998, and then we started the chassis business. That would have been back in 2001. So, yeah, actually, Peter Addard from Sydney, Australia, who I'm about to work for, he's the one that actually got us into building the chassis. We actually had to repair one of his old Gambler chassis back home. So, yeah, and then after that, just skyrocketed from there. We got connected with some teams back home. Obviously, Kerry Madsen was the biggest one back in the early days. We won a lot of races, some World of Outlaw Down Under races with him as well. That was around the 2004, 2005 and 06 area. And then obviously the Cricky Motorsports, who we're still good family friends with. We won a lot of races with Brooke Tatnell back in Australia. And then that sort of led us up to Larson and Marks Racing with Shane Stewart. And I was racing pavement bitumen go-karts as a young kid for about 8 years. So, and then got into micros. And then once I got into micros, that's when it's all sort of worked out with Shane and Larson and Marks, Justin Marks, who now owns Trackhouse, the NASCAR team, and obviously Kyle, he's a pretty decent driver. Yeah, that all took off from there. And yeah, we won 36 World of Outlaw races in the cool cars. We pretty much won every Knoxville prelim night, just not the actual nationals on the final night. Something went wrong or just didn't have quite enough to get there. I think the best finish was third in the final race. But we got into the Canadian.
Wouldn't you have won at Kings Royal, right?
We won
at Kings Royal in there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were sort of lucky the final night. Shots was sort of running out of fuel, but we were just there at the end, so able to get the win. And obviously got into the Canadian sprint car scene with Miles Hills Racing. And obviously James McFadden and Shane were the first to run them in Canada. And then, sort of just took off. Then obviously Dylan, Westbrook, and then so forth. And then, just started growing, which is good. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So tell us about how you enjoyed your time up here in Canada racing against, for me coming from Maryville, we know the modified scene is pretty intense and there's a lot of strong drivers in the modified side. But talk to us about the competition that you faced in the sprint cars up here, and did it exceed your expectations?
Yeah, absolutely. I was really surprised when I first got here how many big teams there are up here. Like, we don't really see that. We only see your GSR or your Hills Racing, but with obviously Dan and Nitro 54 and Burger Barn as well and a few others. There's some really beautiful outfits over here. I didn't realise that till I got here, but it's really surprised me how competitive everyone is. It's sort of everything's so equal now. Like, everyone has the same sort of engines or parts depending what your budget is. It's it's really good competition up here, and I really enjoyed it.
What would you say your favorite track was?
Well, Oshwaken, but
I know.
a part of Oshwaken, honestly, I love Merrittville.
Yeah.
It's so unique.
Yeah.
It was just awesome facility. Just a lot of fun. It sort of reminded me of a track back home. It's really high bank and high speed, but Merrittville's just really unique with the turn 3 and 4. And yeah, I love the place. Like, enjoyed it every time I went there. It's one of my favorite tracks all the time, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm the same
That
way
makes
on
me
that
smile
one.
to hear.
Yeah, awesome.
That's
Yeah.
wicked.
Awesome place.
I wanted to ask about racing back home, and in particular sprint car racing, because for me, I think I don't know if it was just something that was just under my nose or something I didn't realize, but Australia and dirt car racing, especially sprint car racing, it's really there's really more connection, more roots there for the sport than I think most of us maybe in North America might even realize if you're a bit of an outsider or a casual fan of it.
It's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. It's massive.
Yeah, massive.
We probably have around 300 registered sprint cars, maybe more in Australia.
Wow.
300 dirt tracks, 410s. There's probably, I'd hate to know how many 410s there is back home, but there's a lot. 410s is a major class back home. But yeah, it's absolutely massive. Obviously, we get a lot of the outlaw guys come over for our Australian summer, your guys' winter, and try and earn some of that Australian cash, which is not much at the moment.
Same as Canadian bucks, same thing.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's really cool having the outlaw guys come over, and even they say how tough it is. It's there's so many teams over there that they literally operate like an outlaw team. It's crazy. It's yeah, really good. Very lucky.
So you're in Sydney when you go back. So like, what are the local tracks to you?
So Sydney's just opened up a brand new racetrack. It's a replica of Charlotte.
Oh, really?
So yeah, they've just opened it this year, back in March. But
I
they've
believe
had
I saw a video on the sprint car, the Aussie guy on YouTube there.
Oh yeah, Toby Balboa.
Yeah.
Car Hub.
Yeah, Sprint Car Hub. Yep.
Yeah, so I'll be there. I think it's next weekend. I'll be there just helping out. I won't be racing as far as I know. But yeah, that cost about 70 million. So it'd be good to have a look and see, what it's like. But yeah, that's the latest brand new track. Apart from that, there's not really many other tracks around Sydney. There's normally, a couple little tracks, but they're lucky to run once or twice a year. So
like the bigger tracks, you see how far would like one of the like Warrnambool or whatever.
So if I went back to my hometown of Warrnambool to race, it'd be about 10 to 12 hour trip back in a car.
Holy.
So, yeah, a bit of a road trip. Not like going to Brighton or anything like that. But
no doubt.
Yeah, or going to Merrittville.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I find fascinating about the landscape of racing in Australia.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
So spread out, and you have major cities on like really like across the country, right? So that's it. As much as I'm sure there's 300 tracks to spread out, there's a lot of landscape to spread those out. So do drivers find it hard to kind of commit to a scene, or is there enough tracks within maybe a 10-hour radius that a driver can really fill up their summer schedule?
There's enough to fill in a 10-hour drive like schedule. Like we've got where I used to live in Warrnambool, around my area, there was 8 to 10 sprint car tracks in 2-hour radius. So yeah, it's pretty big. So and then of course in Sydney you've got just above the state is Queensland, so you've got 2-3 tracks up there that you can race there all the time as well. So you can probably do 25 to 30, whatever your budget is, you can do it pretty comfortably around Sydney.
For sure.
Pretty easy in a 10-hour radius.
Interesting.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Do you want to talk about your time with GSR and why you got to make a trip back to Australia, or you don't have to?
Might as well.
You might as well. Get your side of the story out.
Yeah. We had a lot of problems there as soon as we got there. We're trying to get the chassis business, so it was under GSR Chassis, so it wasn't part of Cool Chassis. Cool Chassis is a separate deal.
Yeah.
So without any crap, just people were making up stories about we were just there to take the money and stuff like that, but we were not. We weren't there for the money. We were just there to try and get the cars back into the US market and the Canadian market and try and get going again. But a few people stopped that from happening. There was a lot of fighting and stuff like that, and then some stuff happened. Then we got 2 weeks holiday from the race team. Of some physical stuff happened. So, at the end of the day, just like Kevin's podcast the other week with you guys, it was a mess. It is a mess. As far as I know, people have been telling me it has been for quite a while. No disrespect to Glenn or anything. We try to make it better. But, it just didn't work out. We're trying to, it was hard trying to get people to try and get the chassis business set up, help us out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were waiting for gas bottles for 8 weeks and still nothing would happen. So just a lot of things for other people to do was just it wasn't quite working out. So it sucks it went that way. Had nothing to do with the racing side of it or anything like that. But yeah, that Friday we got police escort out of Speedway. That was only because my father resignated from GSR that day in the morning, and he was going to build 5 cars, make sure Glenn gets some cars, brand new cars for next season. Then we'll leave. It was supposed to be September the 25th. So everyone's got what they want. Then we just move on. Then unfortunately that happened. I was about to put my race suit on. Then the 5 police come up to me and tell me I'm out. So yeah, not the way to do business. Definitely not the way to do it in front of people as well. But at the end of the day, just move on. I still class Glenn as a friend, and we just move on. I wish him all the best and the team the best with their future. Just sucks for me because I sold my whole race team to go to Glenn. And now I don't have much at the moment, but I'm sure something will pop up. Been talking to a few people back home. So, but yeah, that's just literally what happened. There was just too much bullshit. And just caused absolute mayhem and just couldn't get it done. But there will be, I do miss working there, Wesley, just Steve and all the guys there. It was really fun working with them all and stuff like that. We had a lot of good times, especially Wesley with his stories. If you know sure. Wesley, you got some good stories.
I absolutely do. Yeah.
No, awesome guys. I'll miss them dearly, but it just sucks how it panned out. Just didn't need to be.
Police escort was a bit much. I couldn't believe it when I saw a cop. Like I didn't know it. That's why we were having you on to get your whole story. Because literally, like I parked right across from you the whole season, and the one night there was like 28 cars signed in because I'm always watching the thing on my race pass to see how many signed in, and then I see -1, and then a cop car, and like so I had to get that. And
it was a bit of an overkill. Like
a little bit of an overkill. I'm going to go on that.
Could just absolutely. Like I spent all day getting the car and getting Holly's car ready to go, as well as Steve was busy that day and had to go somewhere, so I had to help out with Holly's car as well. But and then that happens. It's a bit of a kick in the face. You do your best to try and help them out, but obviously, that happens and doesn't feel great. But it sucks. It's just the way it is. It's if you want to be a professional race car driver and have a business, you go through that shit all the time. So
racing's cutthroat. There's no doubt.
No doubt about it. You know yourself. Just it could have been handled way easier than that. Like, if we had a chat on the Saturday or something like that, it didn't.
Yep.
Could have just talked it out and like, all right, we'll do this and make up a plan. But just other people causing a lot of trouble. Pretty much what summed it up for us to leave GSR. But hey, at the end of the day, I wish them all the best. Appreciate the opportunity.
Let's get off of the doom and gloom a little bit, and I'd like to talk about how you were just starting to improve. Like you were just starting to get rolling real good, and then you had to leave.
Yes. Story of my life. Yes.
I can hear you there. Because like you had like a top 10 in one of the nationals, the first one,
or the first nationals. So we got So we went really good then, and it was sort of weird because the track this year has been obviously glass slick, full
Yeah.
control, and then getting your car right. And me and Steve tried a lot of things. We did a lot of things that were really good, and sometimes we made some mistakes, but at least we know not to do it next time. Just the standard deal. But it was I was really lucky to have Steve because I did learn a lot. Obviously, with his experience with Dylan Westbrook and Randy Hennigan and so forth back in the day.
Mhm.
But once we got our bleeder package sorted out and then our shock setup sorted out, we were just pretty good. Like we didn't change anything. We went to Brighton and Merrittville, same setup as Osh Week, and changed gears and off we go. So yeah, it sucks that it ended the way it did because we did feel really comfortable, but it's part of it.
Yep, you're just getting rolling. That's the bummer, but you're
Yeah.
going to bounce back, and you'll be having a ride in Australia, and we'll be reading about you out there. So
Yeah, we'll be fine. I'll try and come back and have a beer with you. I'll bring some
Yeah.
Vegemite over for you.
that'd be great too.
Oh, now we're looking for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear
Alright,
great
Johnny.
things about the Vegemite. Well, I just wanted to ask you, or say, all things considered, it sounds like you still have maintained a pretty positive outlook after a tougher situation. What excites you most about going home right now, and what could lay down the head?
Just seeing all my friends and rest of the family, obviously, and also I just want to see how I go back in a 410 car. Like I did learn a lot from Kevin from when I raced with Kevin as my crew chief in Florida at the start of the year, and then obviously I brought Steve in to come and help me out because Kevin had too much on his plate with the parts business and Glenn and so forth, crewing on cars. So brought Steve in, and he's been absolutely amazing. Like without him, I'd be screwed. So I'd like, just to see what we did over here. I'd like to try it back home and just see what it's like if it works or not, which I think it will because it's not far off the same as back home anyway. So, there's a lot of positives to take out of it. Just sort of forget the negatives and move on. And, hopefully back in a 410 car in a few weeks' time, we'll just see what happens. But, looking forward to it.
Awesome.
What a story.
Well, we'll get you out of here. We'll get you out of here on this one. This is the kind of question, I call it the Stack and Pennies Corey LaJoy Memorial question because I stole it from their podcast, but it's a good one for dirt racers.
Yep.
Brayden, I'm going to give you any car in the world, any kind of car, any class. You got to pick one car and one track to race it at for the rest of your life for one final start. What's your pick? What's the combination?
Oh, well, it'd have to be a Silver Crown dirt car, and it'd have to be Eldora.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big Silver Crown fan. We don't have them back home,
Nice.
so yeah, they're pretty cool. Pretty sweet.
Yeah, you're right on
That's
page.
okay.
Mine would be a Silver Crown car and a dirt mile. I don't know if I've ever said that.
Dirt mile or
Maybe I've said it
Eldora.
before.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'm with you.
Perfect.
Awesome. I was gonna say, I think that's the first person we've actually had say a Silver Crown car. I think
so. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah. I was like, I was 50-50. I'm like, am I gonna get a V8 supercar right now? Like, am I gonna get a lap around Mount Panorama?
No,
or
man,
something
that's
in a Holden?
pavement. That's to get to the races. Asphalt.
I love it.
There we go.
Even though I was literally watching Bathurst videos before this with my buddies on the crew.
Oh yeah, Bathurst. Yeah, it's pretty cool, Bathurst.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
you're
I'm
right.
pretty sure
Pavement's for getting there.
Yeah, that's it.
I was gonna say the Lap of the Gods popped up on my Twitter feed today too, so it was really appropriate. I was like, so maybe.
That was awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, I know.
Right,
what a moment, eh? Well, thanks for joining us, Brayden. We wish you all the luck back home, safe travels back home, and hopefully we'll see you for Canadian summer next year and something. I'm looking forward to it, and you definitely turned some heads on your time up here. So
awesome. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. And we'll see what happens. I'm trying my best to get back next year, so we'll see what happens. Stay tuned.
Awesome. Sounds good,
Have a safe
Brayden.
flight.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Safe travels.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Later.
And the checkered is out on another episode of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe for future episodes. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Have a question for the show? Email us, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com. Thanks for supporting local racing in Southern Ontario, and we'll see you at the track.